Suzuki Ishiro, an exhausted programmer who had been juggling multiple game projects and tirelessly fixing bugs, eventually succumbed to sleep after more than 30 grueling hours of work. When he awoke, however, he found himself standing at the edge of a vast and fantastical canyon. Confused and disoriented, he checked his reflection on his cell phone only to discover that he had reverted to his high school appearance, which made his situation even more surreal. As he tried to process what was happening, a game-like interface suddenly appeared before his eyes, one that closely resembled the systems he had previously worked on. Intrigued, Suzuki realized he could control the interface with his mind. He also noticed that his name was displayed as Sato in the status section, which he recognized as the in-game alias he had used during earlier beta tests. Curious, Sato opened the map and discovered that he was located in Dragon's Valley. His attention was soon drawn to a distant cloud of smoke, which signaled the approach of enemies. Recognizing the imminent danger, he quickly searched the interface for any tools he could use to defend himself. To his surprise, he found 3 uses of meteor rain, along with a map reveal feature, both of which were concepts he himself had designed to assist beginner players. After activating the map reveal, Sato learned that approximately 300 lizardmen, each at level 50, were approaching his location. As a mere level 1, he immediately realized that facing them head-on would be impossible. He quickly took cover behind a nearby wall, hoping to avoid detection. However, his hopes were dashed when the lizardmen quickly located him and launched a barrage of arrows. One arrow narrowly grazed his eye, drawing blood and causing him to feel intense pain, making the threat of death painfully real. In a desperate attempt to survive, Sato tried to activate meteor rain through the interface, but nothing happened at first. Panic set in as he feared the ability might be bugged. With no other options and his life hanging by a thread, he activated the remaining 2 meteor rain charges in rapid succession. To his immense relief, a storm of meteors rained down from the sky, completely obliterating the lizardmen. When the destruction finally subsided, Sato noticed that one lizardman had somehow survived, though it was barely standing. In an unexpected gesture, the creature handed him its sword, seemingly challenging him to a final duel. Thinking quickly, he kicked up sand to blind the lizardman and then hurled the sword, defeating it. Immediately afterward, he was astonished to find that all of his wounds had healed. Upon checking his status, he discovered that his level had skyrocketed to 310 thanks to the massive experience gained from the meteor rain. His maximum vitality had also increased significantly. As he continued examining the interface, he realized that his ability points had reached their maximum capacity. He also noticed that the meteor rain and map reveal abilities, which had initially been disabled in the magic skills section, could now be activated. Eager to test their true power, Sato enabled the abilities and launched another meteor rain at a distant area of the valley. However, to his horror, the meteors that descended were far larger and more destructive than before. Realizing the catastrophic danger, he immediately fled, barely managing to cross a protective barrier that shielded him from the devastating shockwaves. Once safe, he quickly disabled the dangerous spell and let out a sigh of relief. Feeling parched after the ordeal, Sato accessed his inventory and discovered a large amount of loot and money obtained from defeating the lizardmen. He quenched his thirst using an endlessly filled water pouch and then equipped a set of robe-like garments from his inventory. Later, while resting by a campfire, Sato carefully examined the skills section of the interface. He discovered that skills could be acquired through observation and experience. Acknowledging his limited abilities, he decided to allocate his points to the skills that would be most useful in combat. Now more confident and better prepared, Sato set his sights on the warrior's fort, which he had located using the system map. Upon arriving, he witnessed a level 30 wyvern terrorizing a group of low-level soldiers.
Seizing the opportunity to intervene, Sato threw a rock at the wyvern, successfully drawing its attention away from the soldiers. Determined to help, he gave chase.
As he approached, however, he found himself unable to understand the soldiers' language. Realizing this limitation, he immediately accessed the interface and maximized his language skill, allowing him to comprehend their speech. With his newfound understanding, Sato observed that the soldiers' feeble attacks were ineffective, merely bouncing off the wyvern's tough hide. Moments later, he witnessed a magician named Xena being launched into the air by the creature. Already weakened by her ineffective spell, she lost consciousness mid-air. Without hesitation, Sato leapt from a cliff and caught her in his arms, preparing himself to face the dangers ahead. Through this act, he earned the honorable title of Savior, which led him to realize that his actions not only granted him skills, but also titles. When Xena regained consciousness, she expressed her heartfelt gratitude for saving her life and introduced herself in great detail. Sato found himself wondering whether he should even be privy to such personal information. However, his thoughts were abruptly interrupted when he narrowly avoided a crossbow bolt. He quickly realized that Xena was not alone, but accompanied by her companions, Iona and Lilio. Suspicious of his sudden appearance, the two interrogated Sato. Relying on his newly acquired skills in persuasion and trickery, he successfully deceived them by fabricating a story about being a traveling merchant who had lost everything due to a phenomenon known as starfall, caused by falling meteors. His explanation proved convincing, and both Iona and Lilio accepted his story. Soon after, Sato found himself traveling towards Seiryu City alongside Xena and her companions. During the journey, they shared valuable information about the world, including the high value of wyvern hide and scales, as well as the unpleasant taste of its meat. They also informed him about the presence of slaves and magical beings within the city, noting that only a single elf resided there. Upon arriving in the city and parting ways with Xena, Sato proceeded to acquire identification documents with Iona's assistance, paying with a silver coin. To his surprise, he discovered a magical stone known as Yamato Stone, which displayed his status. However, he realized that it reflected his condition prior to leveling up. This revelation reassured him, as he concluded that it was simply a limitation or feature of the system interface. Sato then obtained a 10-day visa to remain in the city, learning that overstaying would result in him being enslaved. After separating from Iona, he was approached by a girl named Martha who guided him to an inn that had been recommended earlier. There, he paid for his stay and enjoyed a meal, during which he gained skills in haggling and trading. While conversing with Martha's mother, the inn's owner, Sato learned about rumors of a demon lord challenging dragons in Dragon's Valley. He also heard that a hero had once defeated a demon lord. Reflecting on common game tropes where defeated demon lords often return, Sato began to consider the possibility of a similar cycle occurring in this world. As he enjoyed a delicious meal of quiche and bok choy-like cabbage, Sato asked Martha where he could purchase general supplies. She not only provided helpful directions, but also offered to accompany him. Grateful for her assistance, he accepted, and together they set off on a shopping trip. During their outing, Sato witnessed two demi-human children being harassed. Without hesitation, he intervened, driving away their tormentor and offering the children his support. After bidding them farewell, he rejoined Martha, who explained that demi-humans often faced prejudice due to a history of raiding human settlements. Eventually, they completed their shopping and returned to the inn. Along the way, Sato noticed a slave named Arisa, who bore the titles Exiled Witch and Mad Princess, which piqued his curiosity. Back at the inn, Sato encountered a young girl and thanked her for assisting with his luggage by giving her a tip.
Then he asked Martha for a dinner recommendation and proceeded to enjoy a sumptuous meal, savoring each bite and even requesting seconds.
Following his satisfying feast, Sato retreated to his room and lay down on the bed, reflecting on everything he had experienced so far. At first, he convinced himself that it might all be a dream. However, a sudden realization caused him to sit upright. There was no save or log out function in the interface, which led him to consider the possibility that he was truly in another world. The following morning, Martha woke him and informed him that his girlfriend had arrived. Confused yet intrigued, Sato went outside and was pleasantly surprised to see Zina, who expressed her intention to guide him on a tour of the city. Grateful for her company, Sato joined her, and the two spent time exploring while sampling various local snacks. At one point, while visiting a stall that sold bat wings, an accident caused Zina to stain her shirt. Fortunately, a passing mage offered to clean it using magic, and they gladly accepted the help. As they continued their tour, Sato's curiosity led him to ask Zina about the path to becoming a mage. He learned that it was a difficult journey, requiring years of study and mastery of complex chants from a young age. Zina shared her dream of one day flying through the sky using magic, and Sato encouraged her aspirations. Later, while purchasing skincare ointment for Martha's mother, Zina asked if there was any particular place Sato wished to visit next. Their journey eventually brought them to the top of the city wall, where they paused to enjoy the refreshing breeze. Sato then asked for Zina's approval before suggesting a visit to a military facility, to which she agreed. Along the way, they stopped at the Palin Temple, which had piqued Sato's interest. There, they met Orna, a priestess, who explained the legend of the hero's sword, a weapon said to emit a blue glow when it accepted a worthy wielder. Thanking her and taking one last look at a painting depicting the battle between a hero and a demon lord, Sato checked his titles while Zina arranged for a horse-drawn carriage. To his astonishment, he discovered titles such as God Killer and Dragon Killer listed in his interface logs. Upon further inspection, he realized that he had apparently defeated powerful beings, including the dragon gods Goai and Kaguya in Dragon's Valley, using meteor rain. This revelation unsettled him, leading him to question whether he was unknowingly using something akin to cheats or hacks in this world. When they arrived at the windmill, Zina shared its history, including past attacks and the defensive measures put in place to protect it. She also explained that heroes were summoned in the Shiga Empire through special ceremonies, and that particularly dangerous demon lords possessed the ability to control demons. During their carriage ride, they encountered Zakuan priestesses who were selling so-called divine stones and inciting the townspeople to throw them at demi-human children, the same children Sato had previously helped. Zina quickly intervened to protect the children. Meanwhile, Sato discreetly used his interface to investigate the situation and uncovered that the Sewer Rat Guild was behind the scheme, intending to manipulate the citizens and incite unrest. He revealed their plan, causing the crowd to question whether the priests were truly connected to demons. At that moment, Sato noticed through his interface that a demon was present within the city. Suddenly, a four-winged, one-eyed demon with two arms emerged from the slave master, killing him before turning on the Zakuan priest. Without hesitation, Sato rushed to shield the demi-human slaves from the creature. To his relief, he soon realized that their slave status had been lifted following the slave master's death. After freeing the slaves from their former master's control, the one-eyed demon cast a wide-area spell, and the scene abruptly shifted. When Sato opened his eyes, he found himself inside a dungeon-like labyrinth. From the demon's echoing voice, he understood that they would need to find the exit in order to escape. Before proceeding, Sato gave new names to the 3 slaves accompanying him. Lisa, the lizard girl, Tama, the cat girl, and Pochi, the dog girl. He provided them with clothes, medicine, and food. Though initially hesitant, the girls eventually accepted his help with gratitude. Using the interface, Sato confirmed that the demon was not present within the labyrinth. He also gained a detailed understanding of the layout and the positions of everyone inside. As he prepared to move forward, the three girls expressed fear of being abandoned. In response, Sato reassured them that he would stay with them and assigned each of them a role within the group. As they explored deeper, they encountered a bug-like monster, which Sato easily defeated by enhancing his shooting abilities through the interface. Afterward, he harvested materials from the creature, maximizing related skills in the process. He crafted a spear for Lisa and removed the chains from Tama and Pochi's collars. Lisa also informed him of the value of monster cores, prompting Sato to extract one from the creature and store it for later use. Understanding the importance of growth, Sato allowed Lisa, Tama, and Pochi to actively participate in battles against monsters they encountered, helping them gain experience and increase their levels. The group advanced carefully, taking breaks as needed while navigating the labyrinth. At one point, Tama discovered a suspicious wall, which Sato quickly identified as a trap. When a monster suddenly sprang out in an attempt to ambush them, Sato reacted swiftly, throwing the creature into the trap and capturing it. Undeterred, the group continued forward. Their perseverance eventually led them to rescue Viscount Belton and a slave trader who had been trapped in web-like cocoons. Not long after, they encountered Xena, Orna, and a group of soldiers engaged in battle against a swarm of slimes. Eager to help, Sato joined the fight, using his abilities to assist in defeating the creatures. During the aftermath, a soldier unknowingly opened a treasure chest, which turned out to be a disguised one-eyed demon. Sato quickly realized that the demon had been hiding in plain sight. Seizing the opportunity to spread chaos, the demon launched a series of attacks, including hallucination spells. Despite the spell's effects, Sato resisted its influence and gained a new skill in the process. Recognizing the ineffectiveness of the other's attacks against the demon, he decided to act independently. Taking advantage of the confusion, he slipped away, donned a mask and a wig he had obtained earlier, and returned in disguise to conceal his identity. Blending seamlessly back into the group, Sato continued fighting alongside them. However, just as victory seemed near, the one-eyed demon summoned its master, a powerful demon lord from the inner circle of the Demon King. The level 62 Demon Lord appeared, devoured its subordinate, and unleashed a devastating storm of wind magic, overwhelming everyone present. Unshaken, Sato confronted the Demon Lord directly. The creature mocked him for lacking the title of hero and the ability to wield the holy sword. Nevertheless, Sato remained determined. Drawing upon his understanding that magic was particularly effective against demons, he enhanced his fire shot spell as a safer alternative to meteor rain. Wielding a magical staff, he unleashed a relentless barrage of fire-based attacks, dealing significant damage to the Demon Lord. As the battle intensified, Sato had a realization. If possessing the title of hero allowed one to defeat powerful beings using a holy sword, then his own titles, such as God Killer, and his possession of a divine blade might grant him similar power. Acting on this insight, Sato executed a swift and decisive strike, ultimately defeating the Demon Lord. In the aftermath, the scene shifted as Sato escorted Lisa, Tama, and Pochi to a slave trader to formalize their transfer of their ownership. Along the way, Xena approached him and embraced him warmly, expressing her relief that he was safe.
As they parted, Sato noticed the various titles Xena possessed, prompting him to reflect on his own growing list of achievements and the fact that he still lacked the title of hero.
Finally arriving at the slave trader, Lisa, Tama, and Pochi joyfully acknowledged Sato as their new master, marking the beginning of their journey together. In a serendipitous turn of events, the slave trader introduced Lulu and Arisa, who were also entrusted to Sato's care as his slaves. However, when Arisa pronounced his name correctly and reacted to a remark about spiders in their hair, in Japanese, Sato grew suspicious. As a result, he decided to take both Lulu and Arisa under his protection. After introductions were made, Sato treated the 5 girls to a proper meal. It quickly became evident that they had been severely underfed as slaves, as they eagerly devoured the food, including sheep entrails, such as liver and heart. Arisa even found amusement in watching Pochi and Tama eat with childlike enthusiasm. While the girls continued eating, Sato stepped out to purchase new clothes for them, along with grilled chicken as a snack. On his way back, he encountered hungry demi-human children and kindly gave them the food instead. Later, Sato returned to the inn with the 5 girls, only to discover that there were no available rooms and that other guests looked down on slaves. To resolve this, he used Arisa's magic to secure space in the stable for Lisa, Tama, and Pochi. He ensured their comfort by creating makeshift mattresses from hay before returning to his own room. To his surprise, he found Lulu and Arisa waiting for him inside, both unclothed. Sato calmly reassured them that there was no need for such behavior and made it clear that he would never ask such things of them. The awkward situation soon passed. However, later that night, Sato awoke to find Arisa attempting to use psychic and charm magic on him while still unclothed. Acting quickly, he used the interface to maximize his resistance and invoked the master-slave contract to order her to cancel her magic and refrain from using it again. When he questioned her actions, Arisa explained that she had acted out of confusion, believing she had failed to meet his expectations. She also admitted that she had developed feelings for him due to his resemblance to people from her original world. Reintroducing herself as Tachibana Arisa, she revealed that she was a reincarnated individual. She further explained that, aside from Lulu's great-grandfather, Sato was the only other Japanese person she had encountered. This revelation led Sato to realize why Lulu had Japanese features. Arisa then explained the difference between reincarnated individuals who die in their original world and are reborn in this one, and summoned individuals who are transported as they are. When she asked Sato which category he belonged to, he clarified that he was neither reincarnated nor summoned. Sato also shared that he had not arrived with any special abilities or powerful items, nor did he possess infinite mana. Curious about Arisa's past, he asked how she had become a slave. She revealed that she had attempted to use knowledge from her previous world to improve her country, but her actions ultimately led to its downfall and conquest by another nation. She and Lulu only survived because a demon appeared and destroyed the castle, allowing them to escape before being captured by a slave trader. The next morning, Sato found himself in an awkward misunderstanding when Xena entered his room and discovered a naked Arisa, while Lulu mumbled in her sleep. He quickly diffused the situation by using charm magic on Xena and later buying her a shawl as a gesture of apology. Later, while walking through the streets with the girls, Sato asked about Lulu's whereabouts. Arisa informed him that Lulu was resting at the inn after feeling unwell. Sato then gave Arisa money to purchase daily necessities for the group. He also explained to Xena that he did not view the girls as slaves and only held that title because it made them feel secure.
When Zina asked about his plans, Sato explained that he was searching for lodging for himself and the girls. She offered to accompany him to the odd jobs agency, but they were unable to find suitable housing. Before leaving, they informed the worker, Mi, that they would return later. Noticing Zina's interest in Sato, Mi subtly suggested that the performance floors in the flea market would make for a good date.
Satu later reunited with Pochi, Tama, Lisa, and Arisa, praising them for their new clothes. When he asked Arisa why she had dyed her hair blonde, she explained that purple hair was considered inauspicious in that region. The group then visited the performance area of the flea market, making various purchases and enjoying the lively atmosphere. During their outing, Arisa and Zina engaged in a discussion about love, with Arisa insisting that one should fight for love rather than give up. Zina quietly reflected on these words while glancing at Satu. Their outing was interrupted when Zina encountered her fellow soldiers, Lilio, Iona, and Rue, who informed her about their recent battle against monster ants known as fang ants. Around the same time, Satu heard Pochi scream and rushed over, only to find Tama holding a dead ant. Sensing danger, Satu checked the interface map and noticed a large number of monsters approaching. Soon after, the city bells rang, signaling an incoming attack. Acting quickly, Satu sent Arisa, Pochi, and Tama back to the inn for safety, while he and Lisa stayed behind to help defend the city. As fang ants began breaching the city's defenses, Satu helped form a defensive line. While fighting, he noticed that some ants had infiltrated the odd jobs agency and rushed to assist Mi. However, before he could intervene, the agency's manager, an elf, arrived and defeated the threat. Relieved, Mi thanked Satu, and he promised to return another time to inquire about available housing. As evening fell, Satu felt reassured knowing that the city had successfully repelled the attack. Zina briefly approached him to inform him of her guard duty before leaving. Shortly after, a suspicious guard attempted to swindle Satu and Lisa out of the monster cores they had collected, falsely claiming that they were required to sell them to the government. However, Satu outsmarted the man by insisting on a receipt bearing the guard's official seal, effectively exposing his scheme. The scene then shifted to Martha's mother, who treated Satu and the girls to a generous feast as a token of gratitude for protecting the inn. After the meal, Satu set out to find a pharmacy in order to purchase medicine for Lulu. However, along the way, two men he had previously saved in the labyrinth approached him and insisted on repaying his kindness by taking him to a brothel. After the unexpected detour, Satu eventually left the establishment. As he walked through the streets, a feather from a shadow owl drifted down onto him. Continuing along a narrow alley, he encountered shadow-type monsters and swiftly defeated them using his abilities. Not long after, he came across a severely injured man known as Red Mask, who pleaded with him to take care of the elf princess beside him. Acting quickly, Satu carried them to the odd jobs agency, entering the building when Natty and the manager were asleep. The noise awakened them, and Satu explained the situation. Upon seeing the elf girl, the manager uttered the name Mia. Hearing her name, Mia briefly opened her eyes, caught sight of Satu, softly murmured that he was pretty, and then lost consciousness once again. The scene then transitioned to Arisa throwing a tantrum after learning about Satu's visit to the brothel. Once he clarified the misunderstanding, Satu gave medicine to Lulu and suggested that she join them later at the general store if she felt well enough. At the store, Satu asked Natty about Mia's condition. Natty explained that Mia was suffering from severe exhaustion due to excessive mana usage. She added that the manager had already used mana and stamina transfer spells to help her recover.
Using the interface, Satu examined Mia's status and discovered details about her identity. Nadi mentioned that a mana potion could aid Mia's recovery, but it was far too expensive. She suggested instead that taking Mia to a place rich in mana, such as Dragon's Valley, might help her recover faster. Hearing this, Satu quietly reflected on his title as the conqueror of that very place.
Soon after, Satu heard faint sounds coming from upstairs and alerted Nadi. They rushed to Mia's room and found her awake. Nadi introduced both herself and Satu. As Mia looked at him, she murmured, "Spirit user." Curious, Satu asked Nadi about the term, and she explained that only those with spirit sight could perceive spirits. Nadi then excused herself to prepare food, leaving Satu alone with Mia. During their conversation, Satu asked what spirits were like, and Mia described them as fluffy and sparkling. Later, upon leaving the store, Satu encountered Pochi, Tama, Arisa, and Lulu studying using the educational cards he had purchased. Martha soon appeared and invited them to lunch. While dining, Satu shared information about Mia, which sparked the girls' curiosity. They expressed a desire to meet her, prompting Satu to take them back to the general store. There, he left Arisa, Pochi, and Tama with Mia upstairs, while he spoke with Nadi and Lulu downstairs. During their conversation, Nadi confirmed that Satu was a merchant, and he repeated the story he had used before. She then asked if he was interested in purchasing a horse-drawn carriage, mentioning that a friend of the manager was selling one. Although Satu initially declined due to his lack of driving experience, Lulu unexpectedly revealed that she knew how to handle a carriage. Encouraged by this, Satu gave Nadi the money to proceed with the purchase. The scene transitioned to Satu fulfilling the girl's wish to escort Mia back home by practicing outdoor camping. During the trip, he once again encountered the demi-human children he had helped before. Grateful, they offered him fruit, and Satu returned the gesture by giving them beef jerky. Later, Nadi provided the necessary documents for the carriage, and Satu began practicing driving with Lulu. He noticed that Lulu became more confident when speaking about topics she cared about, especially when discussing Arisa. As she continued praising her sister, Satu took over the reins and used the interface to maximize his carriage driving skill, earning the title of coachman. During the lesson, Satu sensed a presence watching him and spotted a shadow owl observing from a distance. The creature followed the carriage as they traveled. Upon returning and reuniting with the others, Satu visited the general store again and found the manager speaking with Red Mask. From him, Satu learned that Mia had been kidnapped by mages and taken to a place known as the Cradle. She had managed to escape on her own and eventually encountered Red Mask, who helped her reach the city. Although Satu suspected that the manager might know more about the kidnappers, he chose not to press the issue, sensing the man's discomfort. Suddenly, the girls screamed in fear, prompting Satu and the manager to rush over. To their surprise, the girls had been startled by lightning. As they clung to Satu for comfort, he followed Tama's gaze and noticed the shadow owl once again. Moments later, the owl transformed into a shadowy figure, heightening the tension. The figure revealed himself as Zen, who shared the same name as the hero from the play performed at the market. Zen unleashed a wave of fear-inducing psychic magic, but Arisa countered with her own psychic abilities. Taking advantage of the situation, Satu used the interface to maximize his resistance to fear. As Zen advanced toward Mia, Satu stepped forward to block his path and calmly introduced himself as a merchant. Impressed by Satu's unwavering composure in the face of fear, Zen commended him. Despite Satu's attempts to reason with him, their interaction escalated into a full battle, with Arisa assisting Satu throughout the skirmish. The confrontation reached a stalemate, prompting Arisa to advise Satu to buy time. Sensing that Arisa might be preparing a unique skill, Satu questioned Zen about his true identity. Zen revealed himself as an undead king.
At that moment, Arisa shouted for Satu to move aside and unleashed a powerful strike.
Unfortunately, Zen remained largely unharmed, sustaining only minor damage. Observing Arisa's hair revert to purple, Zen deduced that she too was a reincarnated individual. He warned that if Satu did not intervene, Arisa could become a pawn in the schemes of the gods. Zen then captured Mia and challenged Satu to come to the cradle if he dared to face death. Without hesitation, Satu instructed Lulu and Lisa to take care of the others and bravely leapt into the portal to rescue Mia. The scene shifted, and Satu found himself in a dark, void-like realm where no map appeared, even within his interface. Focusing his concentration, he noticed numerical codes resembling programming language flashing across his skin. The sheer power of his focus caused the domain itself to shatter. Satu then discovered himself inside a castle, where he heard Zen's astonished voice questioning how he had bypassed the trial to reach this point. Satu calmly explained that the cradle was structured like a game, but Zen rejected this idea and teleported Satu outside. There, Satu found himself standing before a massive white tree within the castle. Entering the castle, Satu began ascending its many levels, quickly realizing it comprised 200 floors. He concluded that the castle had been constructed by a devoted fan of Amoris. In search of a secret passage, Satu encountered a dryad who offered to transport him to the 100th floor in exchange for mana, which Satu provided with a kiss. Upon reaching the 100th floor, Satu engaged in fierce battles against an iron golem and homunculus number 7, emerging victorious. Continuing his ascent, he encountered another segment of the same dryad who demanded the same price. Satu agreed, reaching the 180th floor where he defeated numerous monsters. Finally, Satu confronted Zen, who remarked on Satu's rapid progression to the last 4 floors. Satu demanded the return of Mia, but Zen tempted him with the lost holy sword as a reward. Zen then summoned 3 iron golems and the remaining homunculi from number 1 to number 8. Additionally, Zen activated a unique skill called Limit Break on all of them, urging them to engage in a thrilling battle to the death. Satu fought fiercely against the empowered golems and homunculi, successfully defeating the golems. He attempted to reason with the homunculi using his talk no jutsu technique, but it proved ineffective. After a brief, intense struggle, Satu emerged victorious. Homunculus number 1 pleaded with him to fulfill his master's desire. The scene then shifted as Zen congratulated Satu on his triumph and presented him with the Yala horn. Satu inquired about Zen's true desires. Zen revealed his tragic past, explaining that he too was a reincarnated individual who had suffered unjust deaths in both lives due to those in power. After seeking revenge in his current life, Zen embarked on a quest to find a hero capable of ending his immortal existence as the king of the night, yearning to be reunited with his lost family. Even in death, Zen begged Satu to end his immortal existence. Deeply moved by Zen's tragic tale, Satu agreed, drawing the holy sword, which radiated a magnificent blue glow. With a single strike, he freed Zen from his immortality. Zen passed away contentedly, and Satu acquired the title of Cradle Conqueror. Suddenly, 2 mysterious orbs of light emerged from Zen's tattered robe, assuring Satu that they would meet again before vanishing. As the orbs disappeared, the cradle initiated its self-destruct sequence. Acting swiftly, Satu administered a mana potion to Mia, awakening her, and brought her up to speed on the events that had transpired. Studying the cradle's controls, he discovered that Zen had left a hidden escape route for her. Satu rushed with Mia to the location of the homunculi. After witnessing Mia and the homunculi teleport to safety, Satu focused on rescuing homunculus number 7. Carrying the unconscious homunculus, he brought her to a dryad who required seeds and a significant amount of mana to transport them outside. Once successfully outside, Satu and the dryad faced an oncoming wave of salt.
Remembering Arisa's explanation about water expanding as it heats, Sato ran across a lake while continuously firing fire shots, using the elemental attacks to propel himself and survive. In the process, he acquired various titles, including Hellfire Master, and managed to outlast the devastating salt wave. The scene then shifted as Sato reunited with Pochi, Tama, Lisa, Arisa, and Lulu. He comforted the tearful girls, promising them that they would not have to engage in any further dangerous endeavors. Amid the relief, Mia and the manager approached Sato. Mia formally expressed her gratitude by kissing his forehead. Next, the homunculi expressed their thanks to Sato for sparing their lives. They departed to bury Zen's wedding ring at his wife's grave, leaving homunculus number 7 behind, who had wanted to play a game of rock, paper, scissors with Sato. He named her Nana. Upon returning to the city, Sato reported an altered version of events to the city's defense force. He also comforted Zaina, who cried upon their reunion, assuring her that everything was fine and gifting her the earrings they had seen in the fleece market. The group then bid farewell to their friends. Zaina, however, chased after them on horseback, declaring her intention to join them in the coming spring. Observing Sato's melancholy, the girls consoled him, resulting in a playful ruckus inside the carriage. As they traveled, the scene shifted as glimpses of broken torii gates, accompanied by a mysterious voice reminding them that they would remain together forever and to never forget Sato and the group. The party leisurely enjoyed their journey, occasionally pausing to rest and indulge in delicious meals. Before they left the idyllic field behind, Arisa introduced Sato to the concept of item box magic. She demonstrated its usefulness by storing the freshly made pancakes, carefully prepared by Lisa, within its magical space. The scene then shifted as the group rested near a magnificent stone outcropping. However, his attention was soon drawn to Mia, who played a beautiful melody using a leaf. Inspired, Sato attempted to imitate her, but his efforts fell short. As time passed, Arisa approached him with a serious expression and led him toward a nearby structure. Upon seeing it, Sato fell silent. A sudden wave of recognition washed over him as he realized that the structures resembled torii gates. Memories from his childhood resurfaced, moments spent playing near similar gates by his grandfather's house, along with echoes of a young girl calling him Ichido and promising they would always be together. Snapped out of his thoughts by Arisa's voice, Sato struggled to explain his confusion. When he referred to the torii gates as travel gates, Arisa wondered if they functioned like portals in games. However, Sato admitted that he did not know. He then asked her to gather the rest of the group. When everyone regrouped, Pochi and Tama proudly presented the small animals they had hunted. However, Tama's catch escaped due to Arisa's interference, leaving her dejected. Sato comforted her, assuring her that it was not a problem. As hunger set in, the group gathered to share a warm meal, enjoying the pancakes Lisa had prepared. The journey continued as the group traveled comfortably in their carriage. The girls sang cheerfully, their voices blending with the rhythm of the road. Meanwhile, Sato immersed himself in his interface, experimenting with magic in a manner similar to programming, exploring spell creation with great interest.
Along the way, they encountered a slave trader's carriage under attack. Satu and the group intervened, rescuing a group of rat men, friends of Red Mask, who had previously helped Mia escape. Grateful, the rat men thanked Satu and requested permission to continue their own mission. Satu reassured them that their paths would cross again. Later, as evening approached, Satu assisted Tama in hunting a deer, ensuring a hearty meal for everyone. As night fell, the group rested, with the girls drifting peacefully to sleep. Remaining vigilant, Satu used the quiet time to study his interface inventory. He discovered that items stored in his inventory remained frozen in time, while those placed in the item box continued to be affected by the passage of time.
The following morning began with a nourishing breakfast before they resumed their journey. Along the way, they reunited with Red Mask and the Rat Men, paying their respects at the graves of those who had sacrificed their lives to help Mia escape. Mia, attuned to nature as an elf, prayed to the tree overlooking the graves, asking it to grant peace to the fallen. During their farewell, Red Mask presented Satu with the silent bell of Bolanon, acknowledging him as a trusted ally. As they parted ways, Satu noticed that Red Mask carried a similar bell, deepening the sense of connection between them. Later, while eating at a tavern, Satu witnessed an argument between a customer and the owner. Feeling generous, he decided to treat everyone in the tavern and left a tip for the waitress. As he prepared to leave, the waitress grabbed his arm and invited him to spend the night in a private room. The next morning, Arisa and Mia scolded Satu for his actions, with Arisa expressing her frustration at being left out. As the group resumed their journey, they encountered the same corrupt officer who had previously attempted to seize their monster cores. He was mistreating a commoner, prompting Satu to intervene. He helped the injured man by giving him a healing potion. Arisa then pointed out that Satu should ensure they had enough potions for themselves as well. This remark sparked his interest in alchemy. Using his interface as a guide, Satu began experimenting and successfully created his first potion, acquiring the alchemy skill in the process. He then maximized his proficiency and used a transmutation table to produce a high-quality potion. However, he soon realized that he lacked the proper vials needed to store the potions effectively. With his materials running low, Satu decided to take the group to a nearby town, Ninokuni, in Kuhano County, where they could resupply and continue their journey. As night fell, Satu decided to work on crafting a magic item while keeping watch. Arisa joined him, and he gave her a simple device that circulated mana in a continuous loop. She demonstrated how it worked, after which Satu attempted to use it himself. However, due to his overwhelming mana, the item exploded, startling the girls awake. Satu quickly reassured them, calming everyone down. The scene then shifted as the group traveled to Ninokuni town using the map interface. While examining the map, Satu discovered several uncharted areas and decided to explore them alone. Upon arriving in town, he and Liza asked the locals about the location of an alchemy shop. After learning the address, Satu headed there, but noticed a suspicious cloaked man leaving as he approached. Inside the shop, he met Laris, the owner, who explained that stabilizers for potions were in short supply because they relied on magic cores, items that Satu happened to possess. She also mentioned that someone had recently bought out her stock, but suggested that he could purchase vials from a nearby pottery workshop.
After sending Liza back to the group, Sato returned to the shop in disguise and sold the magic cores to Laris, allowing him to obtain the scrolls. As night fell once again, he used the scrolls to learn their associated skills before exploring one of the uncharted areas on his map. During his exploration, he discovered a hidden barrier that led him into the Forest of Illusions. While navigating the forest, Sato encountered an aggressive girl named Inama, the assistant of a witch who lived there. He skillfully avoided her attacks until the witch herself appeared. Recognizing him as an ambassador of Bolanon because of the bell he carried, she invited him to her tower and apologized for Inama's behavior. The witch then explained her agreement with Count Kohanu, stating that she was required to deliver 300 vials of a special potion in exchange for the forest's protection. Noticing Sato's interest in alchemy, she taught him the recipe for the potion and asked him to deliver a letter to a giant living in the forest. Sato agreed before returning to town.
At the pottery workshop, Sato overheard two suspicious individuals discussing their plans. The following morning, Sato and the girls rushed to help Inama, who was being chased by unknown individuals. Although they managed to rescue her, the potions she had been carrying were destroyed in the process. Sato accompanied her to the viceroy, Birkin, where he negotiated a deal to replace 180 of the 300 lost potions. Upon hearing his voice, Sato realized that Birkin was the same corrupt officer who had previously swindled him and one of the suspicious men from the night before. Using his sharp wit, Sato successfully negotiated terms that required the remaining potions to be delivered by the next morning. After leaving the office, Inama reminded Sato about the potion vials, prompting him to realize that the viceroy had likely set a trap for him. Thinking quickly, Sato enlisted the help of the pottery workshop owner to craft the necessary vials, while the girls eagerly assisted. The owner was astonished by Sato's rapid mastery and his ability to produce such a large quantity of vials in a short time. However, a new problem arose. The vials needed proper drying, and placing them in the kiln too quickly could cause them to explode. Smiling confidently, Sato created a new spell on the spot with Mia's assistance, allowing them to dry the vials safely and efficiently. The group worked tirelessly until evening, carefully arranging the finished vials inside the kiln. Just as they completed their task, Sato sensed the approach of the corrupt officer and his men. Acting swiftly, he secretly stored all the real vials in his inventory and replaced them with decoys. As expected, the officer arrogantly destroyed the kiln, claiming that producing vials without government permission was illegal. Unaware of Sato's deception, he left satisfied, believing he had succeeded. Afterward, Sato and the workshop owner exchanged apologies over the incident. Then Sato discreetly informed the girls of his plan, revealing that his inventory system was even more versatile than Arisa's item box. By carefully managing the temperature of the stored vials, he ensured they remained intact despite sudden changes. Relieved and encouraged, the group celebrated their success, knowing that the delivery could proceed as planned. The scene then shifted to Sato presenting the completed potions to the viceroy. Despite thoroughly inspecting the potions and confirming their high quality, the viceroy deliberately ignored Sato and refused to sign the delivery papers. At that moment, Count Kohanu arrived alongside the witch. Realizing the situation, the Count understood Sato's connection with the witch through her familiar. Displeased with the viceroy's behavior, the Count reprimanded him harshly and ultimately ordered his dismissal, bringing justice to the situation. A sudden assault broke out when Birkin, driven by greed, launched a town protection spell against Count Kohanu.
However, his attack was met with firm resistance. The Count boldly asserted his authority over the town, reminding Birkin of the futility of his actions. Seizing the moment, the Count declared his intent to execute Birkin swiftly, disregarding any familial ties. Witnessing the escalating danger, Sato sprang into action and swiftly immobilized both the officer and Birkin. With calm determination, he reminded the Count that innocent children were present within the office. Acknowledging Sato's sense of compassion and restraint, the Count praised his character and commended the witch for having such a dependable ally. The scene then transitioned as Sato and his companions prepared to leave the town. Their departure was marked by heartfelt gratitude from the witch and the pottery workshop owner, who received a new kiln through the Count's generosity. As their journey continued, a peaceful morning was briefly disrupted when Sato adjusted Nana's core system, which required him to place his hand over her heart. Shortly afterward, he wrote a heartfelt letter to Xena, recounting the trials and successes of their journey thus far. That night, Pochi asked Sato to tell a bedtime story, presenting him with a book. He agreed and began narrating a tale about the 9 gods. According to the story, the radiant dragon god existed even before the other 7 gods and later became recognized as the 8th. The 9th deity, however, was a malevolent demon god from another realm who brought great suffering to humanity. In response, humans pleaded with the gods for power to fight against the demon race. Moved by their desperation, a kind young goddess sought the help of the dragon god. Amused by his fondness for human wine and toys, the dragon god granted her a single powerful spell, the hero summoning. Inspired by the story, the following morning found Sato and his companions filled with renewed determination. As they enjoyed a pleasant breakfast, they eagerly continued their journey forward.